Now, to begin with, a bribery scandal has hit Ghana's Food and Drugs Authority. A senior official of the authority took a bribe of 600,000 cedis from the producers of Core FS food supplement. The money was later returned with a complaint that it was far less than what was negotiated and agreed. The revelations are contained in an investigation by Manasseh Azuri-Awuni. Here are some excerpts from the documentary titled The Returned Bribe.
In less than 4 weeks, the swelling.
He was on the standard TB medication, but when he added the coa, his coughing reduced, he became stronger, he could go to farm.
Until the regulator stepped in.
It's the same container. No. They gave it to us, and with your own containers. It's the same container, you can ask them.
But there was more to the tussle than technicalities.
I didn't know that I was coming to pay money, so I can give you check. So no, I don't want check. I want cash.
And the exchange rate of the bribe negotiated in dollars.
What does that mean? Because $100,000, if you were giving her that, would translate into 587. Is that not correct?
Is that correct?
Manasseh, it's interesting.
The Returned Bribe, airing on JoyNews.
Now, the documentary will air tonight at 8:30 p.m. on the JoyNews channel here on Multi TV. Now, the Teachman Circuit Court presided over by His Lordship Justice Alexander Graham has sentenced a 31-year-old farmer to a 21-year imprisonment for defiling a 4-year-old girl in a bush at Tremenkuma near Kintampo. The convict, Kweku Bula, pleaded guilty to the count, which occurred on Friday, November 6. Correspondent Anas Sabit was at the court and came through with the following report.
31-year-old Kweku Bula, a farmer and a resident of Adom Nkwanta near Kintampo, have been sentenced to 21 years imprisonment by the Techiman Circuit Court. The court, presided over by His Lordship Justice Alexander Graham, found the accused guilty of defiling 4-year-old Annabelle Akalwini on Friday, November 6. Inspector C.Y. Seteglo is the prosecution officer at the Techiman Circuit Court.
This is a case of a defilement of a child under 16 years. And in this very case, the child is 4 years. And the accused person pleaded guilty simpliciter, meaning he accepted he did committed the offense, and so he was convicted and sentenced. He was actually given 21 years.
Inspector Seteglo tells me that though cases of defilement are on the rise in the Bono Eastern area, sentences given accused persons are capable of deterring others from committing similar crimes.
To be honest with you, some are not even reported. Otherwise, we would have gotten more than we are getting. Yes, it's at the high side to me. I'm very sure whoever is listening or watching now will attest to the fact that 21 years is not a small thing. And that should be very scary. For this one, I am very sure that it will deter other people.
Grandmother of the victim, Madame Atanga Azubeni, narrates to JoyNews how the incident occurred. The incident happened on Friday. I went out to buy something, and upon my return, I met a friend who told me a man has taken her into the bush. Then I raised alarm, and people came to my rescue. Then we met them both in the bush. From now onwards, I won't even let strangers get closer to her. I have BP, and what happened is worsening my situation. from the Techiman Circuit Court in the Borno East region. My name is Anna Sabit for JoyNews.
"25 days to election 2020. This is your election headquarters. Now, the NDC in the Northeast region is accusing the MPP of corrupting the chieftaincy institution in the region ahead of the 2020 election. Now, according to the party, some chiefs have been recruited to campaign for the NPP using the name of the Nairi, the overlord of the area. The NDC has condemned the financial inducement of chiefs for political gains by the NPP in the region, warning that such acts, if allowed to continue, would only bastardize and defame the chieftaincy institution and further damage the peace enjoyed as a kingdom. These were contained in a news release by the Northeast Regional Communications Officer of the NDC, Imoro Abdul Razak. A couple of days ago, an elder at the Nairi's Palace was heard urging the people of Mamprugu to cast their votes for the NPP and its parliamentary candidates in the area. The elder's call also followed an earlier appeal by the Minister for Local Government, who doubles as the MP for Nalerigu, Gambaga, Hajia Alima Mahama in your short currently, for chiefs in Mamprugu to use their influence and authority to campaign for the NPP. Hajia Halima Mahama was speaking at the recent Damba Festival. She said there was nothing wrong with chiefs engaging in active politics.
My fathers gathered here. When you go back, don't say chiefs don't do politics. This year, you are coming out because of Mamprugu. We don't want Mamprugu to be disgraced. So when you go back home, don't say chiefs don't do politics. This year's politics is about truth. You have to take the path of loyalty and tell the good side of the party so we can win all the 6 seats in the Northeast region. I have been saying it each time. Mampuses are not strangers to the elephant. When you came to the palace, didn't you see the statue of the elephant at the forecourt? So the elephant is for us. Mampuses are for the elephant. So I am pleading on you, all my fathers gathered here, to do your best for the seats of this constituency, which your hands are on, that you will give to your favorite daughter.
Now, the NDC's presidential candidate, John Mahama, is promising to transform Swami Magazine into an ultra-modern industrialized area for metal engineering and vehicle repairs if elected as president of Ghana. Speaking during an interaction with workers there, he promised to, among others, also construct a polyclinic to cater for persons who get injured within the enclave and construct proper drainage systems.
The Swami Magazine was brought to a standstill as the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama arrived. Hundreds of people, some of them draped in the NDC colours, stood on buildings, cars to listen to him. He says he will transform the metal engineering and vehicle repairs hub. For places like the Swami Magazine, all the roads and drainage system will be improved to make it appealing for people to bring their cars here. Especially Swami Magazine. If I'm elected, we will construct all the roads here and construct gutters, so this place will not be muddy when it rains.
Mode and Dadwa, a year juma, and if you did any juma, I told the Pia Nipebra. Now, obey here, I am Santem.
You work with metals. People get hurt here. You have a clinic, but we will upgrade it to a polyclinic.
Now, my polyclinic no be strong. If you say you be accident and emergency center,
there will be an accident and emergency center. Normally, you find them in major health facilities, but the polyclinic will have one.
And so, that polyclinic, a accident and emergency center.
He has also been retreating his promise to completely abolish the legislation that bans the importation of salvaged or accident cars into the country.
I didn't want to suspend them, Rano. I was saying we free parliament.
Why have you suspended the legislation? It has to be completely withdrawn from parliament. I know because of elections, they are saying the law is there but will not be implemented. They are waiting to see the outcome of the elections. If we are elected, we will completely abolish that legislation.
On day 2 of the NDC presidential candidate tour of the Ashanti region, he started from the Moshi Zongo Park in the Menshal North constituency, where he met some Muslim leaders, residents, and Zongo chiefs. Former President Mahama has been touching on a wide range of issues there at the Moshi Zongo Park. He stated that on a free senior high school policy, if the NDC is elected into power, the party will change and modify the free senior high school policy. Here at the Bensha Palace, the NDC presidential candidate has been meeting the Asante Hene. He has been listing some of the projects undertaken by the NDC here in the Ashanti region.
West Africa here, Sajani Biniho, Kumase Kejetia market. Nana, if you are, you see Tafo market, you see a Swasi market, you see a Tonsu market, a Juanquano. Na Eba hospital, you shall say, AC Sewa hospital, a fire military hospital, Formina hospital, Bekwai hospital, Nina Ewa Santa Memoha.
Live on JoyNews today, this is your election headquarters. Let's now join the live footage from the Ashanti region as John Mahama canvasses for votes among the electorate.
Sani paying nas here, share sitting one year to Abapa, and then me Ojidi and Yami Demo, say NDC, Ebeba San Atra Kunjano so. As a small scale mining, make I say 2016. Yaman penny otiso. Sam Reno no yaman penny. And also ye NDC for ya trying to regular so. Say onoba obese galamse jumano. Na no crab back nim. No no mom ba abehwe enyuma ama banbudu aye. Enti aye den no betwa galamse mu. Na nyame bi samun say galamse no waguna na so nguno. Ezu waguna naso ngono ezu enti NDC ya den shisha foforo eba na wohwe na MPP aban aya afie na ya atwemu yi ya se galamse omo kweti galamse enti obi enjai ene de operation Vanguard and the galam stop, Abba. Who are we feed ya no mabeje? We excavator no mabeje. Omoje sanfidie and the excavators here. Yeah, Betty. Na obi a yaje na excavator ye say omo season. Ube hu na we excavator ye de ama party penyin. Ye say party here sika. Na de ama party penyin say on ne onfa enko ye galamsey no. Ezu. Eza. Enti wo hwe omo ye galamsey e wo Ghana ha. MPP party mpenyimfo ene di akotene ewom. Enti yaka se nyame adom ne eba. Obi a yaje ne machine bia ye beje wa de asan de ama. Ebi se ANCCA ye na ye Ghana for ye na.
Now, the New Patriotic Party is optimistic the self-mobilization of beneficiaries of the Free Senior High School will inure to their electoral fortunes come December 7. NPP youth organizer in the Ashanti region, Dennis Kwakwa, says he will encourage the group to engage in peer-to-peer voter education ahead of the election. He said this in an interview during the launch of the FreeSHS Graduates Association in Kumasi. Prince Apia was there.
Hundreds of Free Senior High School graduates on Wednesday walked through some principal streets of Kumasi. They later converged at the Kumasi Rache Park to launch the FreeSHS Graduate Association, meant to mobilize beneficiaries and the youth to re-elect the NPP to continue the FreeSHS policy implementation. The leadership says government's investments have made them patriotic citizens ready to sacrifice for the country. Charles Ayoka is president of the association.
So we see it as a necessity for us to put ourselves together because we don't know who will be the next president of this nation tomorrow. So we are doing this to help each other and a way to also thank the president for the good work he's doing for Ghanaians youth. So all this is about FreeSHS students. So I think it will encourage us to be very patriotic to the nation, so that if in future any government want to appoint us, maybe become minister or other things, for corruption and other things, because of the nation has sacrificed the resource for us, we also sacrifice our energy for the nation.
Membership cuts across the various regions of the country. Charles Ayoka, however, says the association is not political.
It's not politics. It is about reality. What we have seen is what we are testifying. But we have seen the FreeSHS as a necessity, so we have to protect the policy in a way for our siblings and our brothers to also enjoy it. So we don't have to sit back and look for people to criticize the policy, to destroy it. So we have enjoyed the policy. So we also have to find a way out to also protect it. Some people don't know the importance of FreeSHS. So if we go a long way to educate them to get an idea about the policy, that's where they will also see it as a necessity to vote for the party.
NPP Regional Youth Organizer Dennis Kwakwa is positive the activities of the group will impact positively on the party's fortunes on December 7.
I believe that if you are able to catch them young, they shall forever be yours. These are people that I would have wished to go to and campaign to. But these are a group of students who already are canvassing votes for the president. And so I am very much encouraged. They have expressed their interest in taking part in the campaign. And I believe from tomorrow, one of the most important things that we would want to use them for will be the voter education. That peer education, whereby they're able to teach themselves how elections are conducted and the best ways to vote. I believe that is what I would want to consolidate. Because if all these people go and vote and they cast valid votes, then I can be sure that the president and all our parliamentary candidates will be winning in December.
According to the FreeSHS Secretariat, beneficiaries of the policy currently stand at 1.2 million. Deputy National Coordinator for the FreeSHS, Nana Timabwache, warns the public to support the policy.
We don't want them to just launch it and then go to sleep. So we want that affinity, that love for the FreeSHS to continue. And so I plead with the public to support the policy, to help us open it up to take in more kids, to give more kids a secondary education, so we'll all have a better society.
Meanwhile, the group says branches in other regions will be launched before the month ends. Prince Apia reporting.
You're live on Joy News today. Now, we're picking some information that a senior statesman has passed. We are still working the lines to get official word. When we do, we'll bring you that story shortly here on your most credible news source, the Joy News channel. But before we go ahead, a camera has become one of the essential features prospective buyers look out for when deciding to get a phone. Though the camera is crucial at any event, recently, people would like to take shots of disturbing situations and these people and of people in distress when they could come to their aid. What has been the driving force behind this urge to film people in distress and put it especially in the social media space? FM's Kwesi Deborah has been exploring the phenomenon in this report.
Final year agriculture engineering student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kojo Usu, has a dream.
Ever since I stepped foot in engineering, in the College of Engineering here in KNUST, I've had this passion to learn computer programming.
Though the 19-year-old has been juggling with various computer programming applications for some time now, the experience has not been enthralling.
I just don't find it interesting enough for me. It becomes boring after like the first 2 hours of programming. I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm going to use it for, which makes it very blind for me because I don't know what I'm using it for or even where I'm going with it. But then I know it's something I have to learn because looking at the job market out there, computer programmers are really needed out there. So I want to learn it, but then learning it is just not doing it for me.
You're live on Joy News today. Now, in Arrive Alive today, we take you to the Analogue junction in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. It's the spot for many fatalities in recent years.
We are here at Analogue Junction where we recorded a few days ago an accident between a trailer and a tricycle. Unfortunately, victims were bent, but according to road users, that's drivers and pedestrians, the lanes, as you can see, of this road is quite small, so it makes it difficult for long vehicles, that's the trailers, articulators, to meander their way to other lanes of the road or the other side of the road, and they skid off.
The demise of the pregnant woman, her son and driver, follows an earlier death of a bus conductor at the same spot. 2 months ago, an Ahojo-bound articulated truck loaded with cement lost control and skidded off as it tried to negotiate a curve.
If you see the lanes, they are small. The lane is too small and they are too steep.
But is there some truth to the driver's claims? What's amiss with the nature of the road? Engineer Edmond Kwesi Deborah is with the Building and Road Research Institute.
And so we have the challenge of drivers of such long vehicles negotiating such tight curves because they are not designed to suit those kind of curvatures. So you realize that if you have observed these long articulated tracks, for instance, if it is approaching the Analogue junction from the tech leg and it wants to negotiate to the airport leg, it will not be able to use the exclusive right lane for right turners, it will necessarily have to be in the middle throughput. What we call the throughput is a lane that is designed to have taken vehicles through towards what do you call it, the Afro-Kwanta. But because it needs a lot of space before it can negotiate that curve, it will have to use that particular throughput lane before it will be able to navigate, freely and safely onto the airport lane.
Beyond the geometry of the road, Engineer Deborah fingers the landscape of the Ashanti region as a contributory factor.
This critical situation. You know, in Ashanti region here and then in the middle belt in general, we have an undulating form of terrain. And so when we have intersections or junctions located at places where the approaches are, let's say, descending, the vehicles, when they are coming through, remember many of them are coming from, let's say, Tema.
He hints Ghanaian scientists have started reviewing the road design guide to improve the standards of road design and construction in the country. Though Engineer Edmond Deborah has spelled out the flaws at the junction, the National Road Safety Commission has been advising commuters and motorists. Simbiat Redu is Ashanti Regional Director.
We remember quite recently that a tipper truck and a pragia were involved in a crash along the stretch, and obviously was a road traffic crash which had a consequence of fire outbreak as well. And so we would first of all advise tipper truck drivers along the stretch to maintain maximum maintenance of their vehicle. They should make sure that their vehicles are regularly maintained. So as car owners, make sure that your vehicle is regularly maintained, and drivers has to adhere to the road traffic regulation.
Mona Lisa Frempon reporting.
You're live on JoyNews today with me, Daniel Dazi. Up next is Business with Daryl Kwao.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Ghanaian small and medium enterprises will need to re-strategize to withstand external competition when the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is implemented. The agreement being rolled out from next year will allow free flow of goods among member countries without hindrance. Now, though the agreement presents huge markets for all industries, competition in local markets is expected to increase. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
African countries currently trade only 15% of goods and services produced by member countries internally, compared to 55% traded in advanced economies in Europe and America. It is estimated the African Continental Free Trade Area, after 2 years of implementation, will raise internal trade to 52%. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Ahunka-Lindsay, wants local businesses to take advantage of government policies to prepare for the market. He spoke at a regional conference in Kumasi on the National Export Development Strategy and the implementation of the AFCFTA.
What is important to harness this is that we don't want to be doing the same thing we were doing before. We don't want to be selling cocoa beans to Côte d'Ivoire. First of all, they're not going to want it because they've got enough cocoa beans there. We want to be selling chocolate to them. So that is why the government policy of the industry, one district, one factory, industrial transformation becomes so key, so that you have products to sell. If you don't have the products to sell, what are you going to take advantage of? So it becomes very important how that is integrated.
The National Export Development Strategy driven by the Ghana Export Promotion Council, is aligned to government's industrialization agenda to increase non-traditional exports revenue to over $25 billion in the next 9 years. Dr. Efua Asabia Asare is CEO of GEPA.
The NEDS has outlined strategic interventions that should be taken at the regional and district levels, particularly relating to supply capacity improvement of our major export products, which features prominently under Pillar 1 of the strategy document. Again, it is expected that each district in Ghana should develop at least one exportable product.
In other news, the Ghana Stock Exchange says the equity market looks more attractive as compared with previous years, despite the market recording negative return for investors. At the launch of its 30th anniversary, Managing Director of the exchange, Eko Afezi, indicated that more domestic companies have listed on the market. Nicholas Brown reports.
The Ghana Stock Exchange was incorporated in July 1989, with trading commencing in 1990, marking 30 years since the commencement of the stock exchange in Ghana. Managing Director of the exchange, Eko Afezi, indicated that the market is the most attractive entity in recent times.
So it tells you that we are getting more domestic investors in the equity market, which is good for the country. Okay. The foreign participation, they're just about slightly over 1,000 investors. But when it comes to the domestic, we have close to 220,000 investors. It's actually like 219 or so. Okay, so it tells you the way the market is moving. So there was a lot of interest in the market, and of course that pushed the market up. So we got so many companies also coming to the market to issue because the time was right for them to do that.
Dr. Eko Afezi also bemoaned the delisting of companies from the exchange, but explained that the listing of companies forms part of making the stock exchange more viable to attract investors.
So we are going to set up an OTC market. As we speak, OTC is over-the-counter trading. So we're going to have a market where we can have companies that are not listed, but public companies that have issued shares to have the shares traded on that market. As we speak, the rules with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we are expecting approval very soon. So come next year, we have an OTC market. So Samwood also wants to delist voluntarily. As an exchange, no matter how you look at it, it's always worrisome when your companies are delisting. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we have very strong and viable companies on the market. So we'll strive to make sure that we get very strong, viable entities on the market that investors can have confidence in and they can make good returns going forward.
And that's it for business. There's more coming up after this break.
Now in sports, the Black Stars of Ghana will take a giant step towards making it to the next year's Africa Cup of Nations when they clash with Sudan this afternoon at the Cape Coast Stadium. Ghana is top of Group C with 6 points, while Sudan sits third. Here's a preview by Joy Sports' Mubarak Haruna.
Stars come into this game as favourites, having won both games so far without conceding a goal. Victories against South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe leaves the four-time champions on top of Group C. Ghana have won 5 of their last 6 meetings against Sudan by a margin of at least 2 goals, and the outcome of this match is likely to follow the same trajectory. Despite taking charge of 2 games, CK Akono will be on the touchline for his first competitive game with the national team. Akono believes the game against Sudan will be very tough.
Well, it's a team that I would say, compared to the issues we had, they didn't have that because most of the players are home-based players. They've been together for quite some time now. But we're not really worried about that. It's a fact that they come and they would like to play defensive, make it difficult for us. we are aware of what they're capable of doing, and that we're prepared. Well, today we'll go through some video sessions and we'll let the guys know what ought to be done tomorrow, and hopefully we'll do well to carry the day.
Skipper of the Black Stars, Andre Ayew, says Ghana will go for all 3 points against Sudan.
It's not been the best preparation because we didn't have a full squad early for coach to do whatever he wanted to do from the start, and our days were short. But now the squad is here. We trained well. We are fit. Hopefully there are no injuries, and then we will be ready to go. We are at home, and when we are at home, we have only one solution, is to get the 3 points. So we are going to do everything to make that happen.
The Black Stars will look to secure qualification to the 2021 African Cup of Nations as soon as possible, and a win against Sudan today at home should take them a step closer.
And the Ghana versus Mali game is live on Joy FM at 4:30 p.m. and co-commentator Gary L. Smith is already in Cape Coast. Gary, the game will be played behind closed doors due to COVID-19, but what's the general mood in the town ahead of the game? Right, Gary is joining us live from Cape Coast. And Gary, we just want to know what's the general mood in Cape Coast ahead of the game. Right, you're live on Joy News today. This is Joy Sports here on Joy News. Now, we want to know from Gary L. Smith, who is stationed in Cape Coast currently, what the general mood in the town is ahead of that game between Ghana and Sudan. Gary, can you tell us what the mood is?
Yes, it feels less like an AFCON qualifying day in Cape Coast and more like a very normal day in this historic city, because, I mean, people are going about their normal duties. You can expect that will be the case because the Confederation of African Football and the Ghana Football Association are enforcing to the letter regulations to ensure that there is no chance of people getting affected by COVID-19 as well. So what it is that even among the media, only 42 accreditations have been given by the National Sports Authority. That is extraordinarily low. And they've gone to the extra step of publishing the names of the journalists who have been accredited, just to ensure that nobody tries any funny tricks as well. And exactly that is what is happening today. But in terms of the Black Stars also, we've got the squad in terms of who is going to start against the Sudanese as they look for 9 points to get them on the path home for these qualifiers, Daniel.
And of course, we are curious to know, Gary, what the names are on that squad list, and also what should we expect from the Joy Sports team during the commentary?
Yes, we have live commentary from 4 p.m. as I see scrolling on the screen. The build-up on Joy FM, and unfortunately we don't have it live on television, but we will have the game live on Joy FM. And what we can expect is a starting lineup that includes Emmanuel Lomote. Now, the midfielder has come under a lot of criticism in the last couple of games, even when he got the call-up for these qualifiers, because he didn't do too well against Mali and Qatar. So he is in the midfield as well. Now in goal will be Richard Ofori. The defenders will be Christopher Nete, Baba Rahman, John Boy, and Alexander Jiku. John Boy has had a sterling season so far in France. Alexander Jiku, we saw him in the 2 games. Baba Rahman's call-up has also raised a lot of eyebrows because he has only played for Chelsea's under-23s. Efriye Akwa is back in defensive midfield. Emmanuel Lomote, like I've mentioned. Samuel Owusu, who did well particularly in that game against Qatar, is there, as is Tariq Fosu. And the 2 Ayus are there, Jordan and his brother, and Captain Andre. So that is what we have in terms of the starting lineup.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to hear it on Joy FM. Thank you very much, Gary, for joining us from Cape Coast. You're live on Joy News today. Let's bring you some world news.